Welcome back to Ninetail Hobbies. In this one, we're going to be talking about paint planning and efficiency in your painting to save you time. Of course, the first thing you're going to need is an idea, a color scheme. A lot of times I like to improv my painting and everything, but sometimes it's cool to be inspired by some kind of outside source. These Black Sun from Star Wars Legion are inspired by the Ravagers from Guardians of the Galaxy. Saw them, thought they looked a lot like Yondu, and I'm going to speak in context of how I painted this and what colors I painted this, but this can be used as a broad umbrella for however you want to paint yours. So once you've got your idea, put all of your paints down on the table. I like to use contrast paints just because I like to use zenithal. You can use slap chop, whatever method, but I really recommend having a prime that's a gradation from dark to light. It'll help you establish all of your values a whole lot easier, especially if you're using speed and contrast paints as your base. As you can see, I've got lights and darks just by doing a thin coat. I think a common misconception with contrast paints is, we see all of these, oh, this just came out, and you just see them gooped on, and I don't think that's really a great use for contrast paints. I think thin coats translate the best. Lay down all of your base coats. If you're using contrast paints, don't worry too much about them bleeding from one to the other. I found that you can correct that pretty easily when you come back and you do your next steps. So I like to get a general midtone that's close to the contrast paint, a highlight, and a shadow. And I just pick out particular parts that stick out on the model. Of course, you want the upper parts of the bodies to have the most highlights. And your hero units, of course, you want to put just a little bit more oomph into. You don't have to get crazy. But I don't even touch the under parts of these models. I just get the parts that stick out the most. I run a quick highlight on them, usually like an edge highlight or something. Or I come in and deepen some shadows. If there's a midtone part that I feel like needs a bit more punch, I'll take that midtone that I brought in and just do a quick little bit on it to up the saturation. That's really all you need, especially for tabletop. Like, you put these down and they're gonna look really, really solid. And this is minimal effort for quite a lot. And another thing that will really help out, especially if you're doing like a more fantasy based miniature, is adding texture. Just a couple of quick dots of highlights, and it's gonna do so much, like more than you think it would, to add a whole lot of depth into your mini. And about the craziest I get, besides just doing a little bit of stippling, is I'll do some wet blending if it's a big noticeable area like these shoulder pads. And that's just wet on wet paint. Again, your contrast, your zenithal is going to give you the entire roadmap. So you don't have to guess where you need to put it. Even if you're a brand new painter, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, okay, this is a light part, and you can punch up that highlight. And then atmospheric lighting will do a ton. I'm using an airbrush here. I show how to do it with a regular brush in my Pike video, but this will also help blend all of your colors on a quick paint job really, really well, and will help add a whole lot of mood. This group of Black Suns is in the same setting as my Night City Pikes, so that's the reason why they've kind of got the same atmospheric feel to them, everything. But thanks for checking this out. Hopefully this helps someone cut some corners, save some time, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.